Welcome, everybody, to the Beehive. I hope you're doing well this day. We have a really great show, an exciting show about Speedway today, and we're going to go ahead and have a good time. He actually raced 4 seasons in the British League. And we also have this Saturday, Dennis Sigalo, Siggy. He's going to be in the Hive, 11 o'clock California time. It's going to be fun with Siggy also. And if you go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell, you'll be notified when the races and the particular people come online. It's going to be great. Siggy's going to be here Saturday, 11 a.m. And today we have a highly talented speedway rider. I mean, this guy's good. And he's on the podium. I have some food here, some snack food. So if anybody wants any Tehran, I will be happy to share that with you. Oh, that's fun. And but anyways, this guy was good. He was on the podium just a couple days ago at the Paris Speedway. And we have a special shout out to him from Scott Reed of Beaumont, California. Scott likes this rider, and he is a great rider. And let me introduce him to you today. His name is Mr. Chris Firecracker Kerr. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, we have Chris. Did you like my introduction?
I did, yeah. Yeah. Firecracker. It's a good one.
Well, you know, they call you we want to call you Firecracker because when I was talking on my last show, and it was Chris Ackerman, he told me, he said, you know, I watched these guys ride like the Brock Nickel and Luke Becker, and they're really smooth as glass, and Max is also smooth as glass. And then I watched Chris Kerr, and he just like stuffs it in there and rides it hard. You know, he's just a firecracker. So, we go ahead and call you the Firecracker. Yeah, I think this is your name. Let's see, where are you here? We have a picture of you right here. Somewhere here. And yeah, you just ride that bike hard, and we like that. Here you go. You ride the bike like a firecracker, Chris Kerr. Okay. Oh, that was fun. So how you doing, Chris?
Doing great. Yeah, I'm doing really good.
Awesome. Well, we saw you race. Some of these people haven't seen you ride because I don't know if you're riding that much these days, but some of these people didn't know how good a rider you were, and then they saw Chris Kerr, and they're like, "Oh my God, this guy's good."
Yeah, I don't ride a whole lot anymore nowadays. It's just kind of I ride for fun whenever I get the urge, and I want to get back on the bike and get the adrenaline going again. Then I'll come out and ride, but I can't afford to get hurt with family, and I got the kids, and I got responsibilities now, so I gotta think about the family first, and can't risk breaking any more bones and have any time off work. But so I kind of pick and choose when I feel like riding, and I'll do 2 or 3 races a year usually, and just to get the adrenaline going again and get that feel.
Nice. So if you young riders race Chris Firecracker Kerr, do not crash him because he has a family and he has a job to go to.
Yeah,
right, Chris?
Yeah, that's right. But it's racing. Nobody's out there to crash anybody on purpose, but it's racing, so things happen.
Exactly. So we have this picture of you here. This is Chris Kerr when he was like 12 years old, and he started like racing minis when he was only 8 years old. So he's been riding a few years, and he started riding the big bikes at 16. So he had 8 years riding the minis. So he was I think you were riding with all these guys like Gennaro and Fishback and Fisher. And tell us about your junior days, Chris.
So yeah, junior, I started when I was 8, and because we moved like a mile away from the from Fast Fridays and started watching, and I decided I wanted to do it. So my parents figured out what it was going to take, and we used to watch flat track and whatnot down in the Bay Area. And so yeah, I wanted to try it, and so I started when I was 8, and a year into it, practicing on before the second year of riding, I broke my leg the second year in. So I was out already for a little bit when I was 9 years old and broke my leg. So that's when my sister started riding, because she saw my bike and all my stuff sitting there. So she decided that, well, hey, I want to do it. And if all that stuff's sitting there, let me ride. But yeah, and then ever since then, I mean, just trying to ride as much as possible. It was hard to get some track time up here, just like it is, like it's always been, kind of just trying to get practice laps. We didn't have melees up here, so it was just trying to get laps in where we could. Every now and then somebody would have a practice track we could get some laps in at. So a lot of the practice, a lot of the race, the experience was just race days. And then it was also just struggling with bikes and stuff coming up as kids, just trying to have good equipment and make sure things were running. So I did spend a lot of time watching races from the middle of the track because the bike would break down or something. So I learned a lot of patience from that. But then I've been known to crash. I'm not afraid to admit that. So it's because I've always been one to go for it and hold it on and think. I don't really think about it. I just go for it, and then what happens. And a lot of times I crashed, but I found my edge and found my limits that way. But unfortunately, a lot of twisted bikes in that time. But I learned a lot from it. That's for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. This is a picture, I think. Is that your sister in here?
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually, I think, after she had broke her back and her ribs and everything the last time that she rode. A sponsor of mine from England, Paul and Elise, who's on the front cover there, they bought Rachel and I both a suit and Kevlars and everything, and she actually didn't even get to race in that suit. So because she was broken at that time, and then she never came back to racing after that, unfortunately.
So she broke her back racing Speedway?
She's broken a lot of things racing Speedway, but yeah, she broke her. She had a fracture in her back, but the big thing was, I think she broke 7 ribs and punctured her lung because she fell down in front of a guy and he didn't lay it down and just went right over the top of her. So and then ever since then, it took her a long time to recover from that. And then she just hasn't been back on a bike since. So I'll probably get her on a bike at some point, just at a practice track, because I know she'll want to. But she never got to actually use those Kevlars that are in that picture.
Oh, what does she do now? What is your sister doing nowadays?
She works with my mom. They do group life insurance stuff. They work for an insurance company. So, but yeah, she just does that. She's got a young kid who's 2 years old, so he'll be on motorcycles. I don't know if he'll do Speedway, but he'll definitely be on motorcycles. It's in our blood.
It's definitely in your blood. And
yeah.
On this, go ahead.
Sorry, no. No, I got my son coming out asking me some questions.
Oh, so, very cool.
Trying to keep him entertained while we're on here.
That's okay. Bring him on the show. Why not?
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, on this show, we want to promote Speedway, and it's important to win the races. We're going to talk about what a Speedway rider is with Chris Kerr and winning the races. And this is just a short little blog, because a lot of people watching the show may be new to Speedway, and we want to promote the great sport of Speedway to lots of people. And we're going to keep talking with Chris, but we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about winning, because Chris Kerr, we're talking with Chris today, and he's a winner. And he just told you he has that go for it attitude. And if he crashes, oh well. And we have some pictures of Chris, crashing, he goes for it. Right. We got some good pictures of Chris. And also Chris has done really well too. He's won some championships also. So he's a really gifted rider. And this is what this video reminds me of Chris Kerr, because Chris Kerr is all about winning. Every speedway rider has one purpose in mind, one thing they want to accomplish. And what is that? They want to win. The tapes go up, the clutch drops. You have to have split-second response time. Speedway riders are tough as nails. They endure terrible crashes. It's the go for it attitude. They go for it, and sometimes things don't work out. And the speedway rider only has a few seconds to make the race good. He has to do everything with perfection. When you win, nothing hurts. But when you lose, you die alone. And every muscle must be torn. What do you think, Chris? When you lose, you die alone.
Yeah, it does happen that way. But I mean, there's usually only one winner at the end of the day, so everybody else is dying alone together, I guess.
Well, I don't really mean physically die. It's just like in your heart, you want to win, and you're like, oh, I didn't win.
Yep. Oh, for sure. But that's what keeps you going and gives you the drive to improve.
Exactly. And did you ever like go to Speedway in the early days, like at Costa Mesa when like you were racing at 8 years old? Did you ever travel south and watch Speedway like in the early days, or did you just stay up north?
We mostly just stayed up north. We didn't travel down too much. I mean, I think we did for like junior nationals and stuff, down to like Victorville, but we didn't travel down and really watch many races. I don't even know if I actually went to Costa Mesa until I was on a 500.
Yeah, I remember that time. Well, I'm going to show, because we have a lot of people watching the show for the first time, and we want to introduce the sport of Speedway to many people. Larry Huffman, the voice of Speedway, the voice of the Grant Boys, he taught me, like, just go ahead and introduce people to the sport of Speedway. Explain to people what Speedway is all about. And this was actually Speedway in the 70s. That was actually before Chris Kerr's time, and he never even went there. So we're going to show you a little clip about what Speedway was like, and we're going to see a couple of crashes at the Costa Mesa Bull Ring.
Never seen that clip before.
Now, wouldn't you like to be in that last race with everybody crashing?
It happens, especially in handicap. That's why a lot of guys don't really like running handicap anymore. So I think it's good. It's good for learning, but it's part of it. It happens. And
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen any old video of Mean Gene, the dance machine.
now he's an
That was
old man.
entertaining.
I think he's got white hair now. He doesn't have the black hair no more.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good guy.
We love Gene.
Yeah.
Gene, the dancing machine.
Yeah.
We like that guy.
Yeah.
He's good. So that was Speedway in the 70s. So I guess you're glad you weren't in the 70s.
No, that's the heyday of Speedway.
Yeah.
70s and
No,
80s. That would have been the time.
it was fun. I mean, you had Gene with the more beer, and and then I tell this story. Gene used to. I was a little boy because I lived near the Speedway track in Costa Mesa, so I went. And Gene used to walk the crash wall at Costa Mesa like drunk, because he would drink beer the whole time. And then he would be yelling, "More beer!" They'd be drinking beer and walking. And then one time Gene actually was like walking and then he fell because he was drunk, right? I mean, you can't walk a straight line when you're drunk, okay? Ask a CHP officer and he will tell you that. And so Gene actually was walking not a straight line and he fell with his crotch against the crash wall. Like he was landing right on the crash wall and I think he was singing soprano after that. So yeah, they had good times back in the 70s and Gene was a part of it. So
yeah, that's for sure.
So let's get back to Chris Kerr. Let's get back to Chris. So you went ahead and in the year 2000, I believe it was, you made the big jump from the juniors for 8 years to the 500 cc's, and you raced a full season at Fast Fridays and the Cal Expo Speedway. And how was your transition from the junior speedway bike to the big 500s? How was it, Chris?
It was good. It was actually, and most juniors will agree that when you move up from the 250 to the 500, it's a lot easier. Most kids by the end of their junior years are getting a little too big for the 250s, and they just don't have enough power for us. And that was my case. I didn't have enough power on the 250. So, and that was actually kind of created some bad habits. Trying to keep up with all the other kids. I basically never shut off on the 250. It was just wide open the whole time. And so it created some bad habits, but it taught me a lot. But moving to the 500 was definitely a lot easier to ride the bike. And I was ready for the transition. So, and my birthday's in the middle of the season, at the end of June. So I did the start of the season on the 250 and then moved up to the 500s in the middle of the year and did part of the season in second division and then moved into D1 towards the end of the year. So it was a good transition and yeah, it was a lot easier riding a 500.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot with the young kids when they're riding the juniors and then they move up because the 500s, have so much more power and they're really fast, right? The 500s are fast. And then they're riding these kind of like, weird bikes, these weird engines, some of these guys, especially in your time and before, even Bruce Penhall, he rode a McCullough chainsaw motor. I mean, you're riding a McCullough chainsaw in junior speedway. So,
yeah, right. Towards the last couple of years of me being on a 250, there was only a couple riders that had a laydown 250 motor. And I didn't even have a Jawa motor. I was running Westlake's most of the time, and they didn't have the power that the Jawas did.
No.
But yeah, the transition is just so much easier when you have power to work with. You need power to get the wheel spinning and to ride speedway properly. So having that 500 power was really nice to feel.
Oh, I bet it was like heaven. I remember we used to help out this young rider named Gino Manzares. Do you know him, Gino?
Oh yeah, I know Gino really well.
And Gino, when he was a young junior rider, he had this like old junior bike and it was always breaking down and he was never finishing a race. And he actually looked like maybe a bad rider because his bike never really, like, he was always broke down and everything in the middle of the race. He'd always break down and stuff. And then once he got rid of that old piece of crap junior speedway bike, he got to the 500s, and then he started tearing it up. So exactly what you're saying. When you get on a 500, it's a different ball game than the junior speedway bikes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know Gino really well. I've worked with Gino quite a bit, and I've actually mechanicked for him a few times, and I helped him out a little bit in Europe when he would come over. So I know Gino really well. He's a good kid.
Yeah, he's a good rider. He can ride. He was pretty much like a wild horse when he first started riding because he was fast, and I remember in a couple nationals, he just was going wide open and just like flew into the wall. The guy's fearless, and he's a crazy guy.
Yeah, that's probably why him and I get along.
He's like crazy. He just goes wide open. He doesn't like let off the gas like you. He just goes wide open, and it's pretty fun to watch that guy ride.
Yeah. He's entertaining. That's for sure. He's got a good style.
Yeah, he's a good rider. We like Gino. We'd love to have him on the show. He said he'd come on the show, but he just has to get his equipment, I guess, together. So that's cool. And also, you raced primarily up north until like around 2005, from what the best I saw. And then you came down to Costa Mesa Speedway like every week. Yeah, because that was the year I came back, and my last comeback was 2005, the beginning. And every week I would see who? Chris Kerr. And you were there every night. And I was just coming back, and I would be working on my bike in the pits. And then I would hear like your name being announced by the announcer, and they say, Chris Kerr is winning the race. Chris Kerr, the winner. I'm like, God, that guy's good.
Yeah, that was the last year that I was here before I went to England, and I had a good sponsor down there in LA, so I was able to just drive down and ride a bike down there. I didn't have to load up prep bikes from here, so it was a good year, and had some good help that I could actually get a lot of racing in. So yeah, I was race Friday night up here, get up, drive down Saturday morning to LA and race, and then drive straight back to Auburn. So I mean, it's a nice 7-hour drive, and especially if you didn't have a good night, so it's a long drive to think about how the race went.
So you didn't fly from John Wayne Airport? No, you didn't take the airplane. You drove all the way?
No, drove every time.
Wow, that's a long drive. I drove that a few times, and that's a long drive.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, it's not too bad once you've done it, I don't know, 100 times or so.
And it's not too bad if you win a main event and you go home.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's not too bad of a drive then.
You were really. I remember that season. You were really tearing up the track. I'm not joking. I know most of the people watching probably are like, yeah, whatever. But Chris was tearing it up, man. This guy was on fire. And he was literally just burning up Costa Mesa. And he rode like every night, right? You rode like every night. Yeah.
I did every race. So yeah, it was Auburn and then straight down there. So I rode a lot that year. And that was my last year here before I went overseas. So it was good experience. It's the laps and the track time, the race time that I needed. Yeah, so it was good. Actually, I didn't do as good here as what I did over there as far as my skill level and my racing. My style never really suited the small tracks as well. I do a lot better on the bigger tracks. I feel more comfortable on the bigger tracks, and so definitely opened things up when I was able to go overseas and race over there.
Well, you were pretty hot on the small track. I know we all have our favorite, tracks and stuff. And of course, the small track isn't really your favorite. But not knowing that, you did pretty dang good, Chris. So that was awesome. Really, honestly, I'm saying that as a rider, watching you race in 2005, I was like, this guy's badass, like this guy's good. So, and you didn't even like that track. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
no, I love Costa Mesa. That track is awesome, but my style just doesn't do. I don't do as well on the smaller tracks. But just being bigger on a bike, and it's Speedway's not a tall man's sport. It's
No.
definitely easier for the smaller riders. So being
Yes.
taller is a little bit tougher. It's easier to ride the big tracks when you're taller, for sure. You don't got to be
Yeah,
as cramped up. You can
that's
let the
true.
bike run. And it's easier when you're tall.
Yeah. When I was about your age, I rode the big tracks too, and I just love. I'm a little taller, about like your size, and I just love the big tracks. They were so much fun. I raced at Santa Ana Bowl and other tracks like that, the quarter mile, and it was fun. I mean, just opening it up and just riding it as a big guy. It's nice, right? It's nice.
Yep. Yeah, definitely, and that's kind of why I only race a couple times a year, because I'll go down and race Paris with Steve Evans, because that track's bigger. You got a little more room to run, and it's prepared well, and even if there is a hole or something somewhere, you've got some time before you get to the wall. So whereas all the other tracks, I mean, it's you grab any traction, you're in the wall.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. So tell us about, you were a member of the 2005, I think it was 2005 or 6 or 2005 Dream Team with Steve Evans. You guys went to the UK and you raced against, this is before you went. Here you are. You're up here in that picture somewhere. He's
yeah,
a handsome guy. He's probably the back guy because he's tall.
Yeah, I'm on the back right.
You're in the back right. There you are, the good looking guy. That's right, Chris Kerr. There you are. Tell us about that time. What happened with the Dream Team? What was your experience?
That was awesome. That was our first, all of our first trip to England. So it was cool to get to go and race there as a young American team, and see all what real speedway is like. I mean, because what we grow up with here isn't real speedway compared to the professional racing over there. And so it was cool for us to get to go and ride the bigger tracks and see what professional speedway was all about. And besides the racing, we did get to go, besides us racing against the National League teams, we got to go watch some of the big races, and that was eye-opening, really. I think one of the first races we went and watched was the Elite League Pairs at Peterborough, which is one of the bigger tracks in England. And it was all the top Elite League riders in that race, and it was definitely eye-opening watching how fast those guys are. It was just a whole different level. It's a different world seeing that in person versus growing up watching the races here. So it was a good trip. It was a good trip. I did well in that on that series, and got the attention of some of the promoters. And then I did, just like a month or two after the Dream Team ended, I went back and did the World Under 21 for America, in Czech Republic, and I ended up fourth in that quarterfinal race, and then went to the semifinals, and I didn't do as well in the semifinal. That was in Italy, but I got to travel and see it, and then that next year I was able to sign for a team in England and then go over full time. But that Dream Team tour is kind of what started it all.
Wow. And Steve Evans was a part of that, right? He was promoting that.
Yeah, he helped set that up, and with one of the other promoters, Lawrence Rogers over there, they got together and kind of organized the whole series. So it was
Nice.
it was awesome to see. Hopefully they can get back to it and do some more of that, because it's a good introduction for all the young kids to go over and see it. And it's kind of the most cost-effective way that they're going to be able to do it, and it's like as a big group. So it's not a cheap trip to do, but it's probably the best way to make it happen.
Yeah, a lot of the young riders here, like we had Reese Todd, and he was on the show. You know Reese Todd?
Yeah. Yep.
And Reese wants to go to England and race, and then we have all these young riders that are coming up. I mean, we have your teammate Blake Barillo, and we have lots of guys. I mean, there's a whole stack. Sebastian Palomisi. I mean, we have all these young riders, and I think it would be a good idea if once things change and get better, that Steve Evans creates another dream team and brings all these young guns over to England and give them a chance. Bring Dylan Romo over there and all these guys who are really good. There's lots of them, and give them a chance to get some exposure. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it would. It's the hardest thing with it is just the finances to get it over there. I mean, we've got a lot of kids that would benefit from it, but the financial side of getting them over there. I mean, there's a lot of kids that I don't have the backing or the sponsorship to be able to make that trip happen. But if Steve can help organize that, I think the last couple of years that they did the dream team, they tried to organize some fundraisers to get the kids over, and everybody split it. So hopefully he can, because it would be good for the kids to get over there and actually see what it's about, and it's either going to be motivation for them to step it up and put in the work to get over there, or it'll be eye opening and them realize like it's not a lifestyle for them. So, because it's racing speedway over there is not a life for everybody. I think like Aaron Fox went over there. He did a year over there, and he did pretty well. And I know you had him on the other day, but he did pretty well over there. But he didn't really want to go back. He had the option to go back, but it just wasn't a lifestyle for him. So the whole dream team thing would be eye opening either way. They would either make up their mind that they want to do it, or let them know that they don't want to live in England. Especially coming from California, it's definitely a different climate.
Well, they always have California to ride if they don't like riding in England, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can always ride speedway at home. It's nothing wrong with that. We have this clipping here. I believe you're in this race, and go ahead and check it out, and let's talk about this one here.
Yeah,
You're
I remember
fast,
that race.
dude. Where was that at? What the
That
heck?
was at Glasgow. That was an open meeting at Glasgow in Scotland. So
Nice.
that was Josef Frank, the Czech rider that passed me there. So I led most of it, but yeah, he got me in the end.
Hey, that happens. I can't find a lot of clips of you, so I figured I had to play what I had. I like to see you win, but I can't. I didn't have much.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It was still a good race, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. I like to win if I'm on a race, so I don't like to be second place.
No, definitely not. Everyone likes to win, so that's why we do it.
Exactly. No. So you went in 2006. You went to race in the Premier League for the Red Car Bears. Now, how did all that come to pass? From the Dream Team?
Yeah, from the Dream Team, I made connection with Chris Van Straten, who was the promoter of Wolverhampton Speedway, and he was co-promoting and trying to start up the Red Car Bears. And so that was a brand new track when I signed for him. It was a brand new team, a new track. Middlesbrough had a race team back in the day, and they didn't have a racetrack for a while, so they were finally bringing it back. And so that was kind of one of the ways that I was able to get over there. and get a work permit to actually race in England. They were making it pretty tough for foreigners to come over and race. But the fact that he was opening up a new racetrack and giving other riders a job, he was able to get me a work permit to race over there. So yeah, it was started with that dream team and made the connections and was able to go over there that next year and race for Red Car.
Nice. Is this Red Car right here? Is that the Red Car?
Yep.
So
I think that might have been my last year for Red Car.
you look pretty serious there. You don't look like.
I'm sure I was contemplating something, the last race, or maybe focusing on the next race.
Or coming home to sunny Southern California.
No, I only thought about racing when I was there. I never really got homesick. I loved the racing, and the lifestyle over there was fun. It was fun just living to race.
You're a good rider. I think you developed yourself pretty good over there for the Red Cars, correct?
Yeah, racing over there definitely brings you along as a rider. Yeah, well, that was a good night.
Tell us about this now. There's a couple trophies going on here. What happened?
So that was the Cumberland Classic. It was an open meeting towards the end of the season in I think that was 2009, which is the Workington Comets, which was Kenny Ingles rode for him for a little bit when he was over there. But yeah, that was actually my worst year racing, my worst season. I struggled the most that year. I was riding for the Newport Wasps, and I had a rough year trying to score points and get through it. But I ended up winning that race at the end of the year, which was a good way to finish the season. And that was the same year that I rode with Wolverhampton, and we won the Elite League title that year for Wolverhampton. So I mean, other than my Premier League year and the main team I rode for, it ended the season really well. But that was a good night. That was probably one of my highlights, was that one.
What's this one here, Chris?
That was with Red Car. I think that was one of the trophies. There's a few different series that they do throughout the season. You've got your main Premier League races, and then you have some trophy races. And that was one of the trophy cups that we won. And I think we won that at Birmingham.
Nice.
But that was a good year. Red Car was a good team. It was a good track to ride for, and great home fans. The fans were awesome. So I mean, I'd love to go back one day and do an individual meeting or something just for fun. So you never know.
That would be fun. You have this crash, and now I think this is you. I'm not sure. Is this you crashing?
That's me in front of the guy crashing.
Oh, good. What did you crash this guy? Good. You're in front of the guy.
No, I didn't. That wasn't my fault. I didn't even know that was happening. But that's one of my favorite pictures, though. It's just because it's the timing of that picture is just really cool. But that was in Lanigo. I think that might have been a GP qualifier in Lanigo, in Italy.
Nice.
But nice, yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures. But that wasn't me crashing, so that's a good thing.
I was thinking, oh, this is terrible. So it's always good to be in the picture in front of the guy crashing. So
yeah, that's for sure.
It's never good to be the guy, being crashed or guy crashed.
No.
Looks like he lost control of his bike or something and just wiped out or something. I don't know, chain broke or something.
Yeah. And I had no clue who the rider was, and it's funny because there was one of those things going around on Facebook, like a challenge, and it was a crash challenge, and so I posted that picture, and there's somebody who follows the page on Facebook is from the Czech Republic, and he knows, or no, I think it was a Slovenian rider, and he tagged that kid in the picture, and so that kid commented on it too. So it was kind of funny how that came about. That was just recently too that happened. It was kind of cool.
Nice. So you race for a team called the Wasp, is that right? Is this the Wasp right here?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was in Newport. That's in Wales. and that
And you,
was a tough year of racing for me. So it was a great team. The promoters were awesome, and the facility was good. We struggled. I struggled with setup and confidence with myself, and it was just, the track was different every week, it seemed like, and so as a home track, it was hard to get an advantage. So, and that's part of the team racing over there, is that you have your home track, and you're supposed to be the best that you're going to be on your home track and have an advantage over the away riders. But the track was different a lot of the times, and so it made it a little tougher for us to get confident with it and get a setup. And that was a tough year of racing for me, that's for sure. So like I said, the end of that year went really well, but throughout that whole season, it was tough. So unfortunately, that track's not around anymore. Just there's a lot of tracks that have closed down, and that's one of them, unfortunately.
wow. Well, you race for the wasp, and we're the bumblebee, so I guess we're in the same hive together. We're in the same hive. Oh, well, you were a wasp, so that was pretty cool. And I guess you got to tell me, what is this? Are you on a baseball card or what? What is it? You look terrible. You look like you're dead or something.
So that's actually Paul and Elise that's on the front cover there. Paul painted that picture. He was in a really bad car accident. I don't know how long it's been, but he was in a really bad car accident, and he couldn't speak, he couldn't walk, he couldn't do anything. And so he learned how to talk again. And he's in a wheelchair still, but I used to talk to him after the races at Wolverhampton. Up in the bar after the races, I would talk to him now and then. I didn't know who he was. He's just a fan. But I ended up developing a good relationship with him and making friends with him, just because I would talk to him after the races, and so he would showed his appreciation and painted that picture for me. And he's painted a lot of pictures for riders, and it's just been one of those like rehabilitation things that helps him by learning how to do that and paint and whatnot. And he's a really, really good guy, and he's helped out a lot of riders in Speedway. He got a settlement for his accident, and he spent probably 3/4 of that settlement just helping riders. He sponsored Ricky Wells, he sponsored Kenny Ingles, he sponsored Aaron Fox. So he sponsored a lot of Americans, and he's done a lot for Speedway, and he saved some money for himself, but the majority of his money that he got, he spent helping people out. He loves the sport, and he loves helping riders.
Oh, bless his heart. He's obviously in the wheelchair for life from the accident, right? He's there for life. Oh,
yeah. And I don't think it's more of a neurological issue that he's not able to walk. I don't think like physically. I think he can, but it's just more of that neurological disconnect. But yeah, he's in a wheelchair for life.
Oh.
So I still talk to him pretty regularly.
Oh,
So they're good friends. But yeah, that was one of the pictures that he painted.
oh, that's sweet. I didn't know that. I was just like joking around with you when I said you didn't look good, but
Yeah, no, I get it, and I mean, I'm sure he'd admit it too. So it's he wouldn't take any offense to it.
Yeah, Paul, we love you, and we're sorry if we offended you. We have a little bit of fun on this show, and we like to joke around. I'm a little bit of a joker sometimes. I'm not serious, so don't take it personal, Paul. Don't take it personal. We're just having fun here in the hive. and we love you, Paul.
He'd be fine.
I'll tell you, he sponsored all these great riders like Aaron and like Kerr and Wells. I mean, this guy is an amazing guy, and he's great. And we love to promote this, the sport of Speedway. And Paul is definitely angel from heaven, really. So we really appreciate guys like him. And we're going to talk real quickly about what is Speedway, because like I said, we have a lot of people watching the show that don't really have a lot of experience or know a little bit about Speedway. So we're going to show you what is Speedway. Greetings and welcome back. Today we're going to examine what it is to be a speedway rider. So let's go ahead and talk about it right now. When I think about the word speedway rider, the first thing that pops into my mind is, let's say, gladiator. A gladiator. Why is this speedway rider a gladiator? Well, it's very rare. The speedway riders are very rare. There's not that many of them. Another word that comes into my mind when I think about what is speedway riders? What is a speedway rider? I think of crazy. Because a speedway rider has to have a little bit of craziness to be a speedway rider. Think of it, you got like 4 or 5 riders that line up at the line and the tape goes up and the bikes go 0 to 85 in 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, you're like 85. And they're like rocket ships. And it's the first person to the turn usually wins the race. But 4 or 5 guys like crowding into the turn trying to get that first turn. That is crazy. And with no brakes, of course. Every speedway rider has one purpose in mind, one thing they want to accomplish, and what is that? They want to win. Because when you win, nothing hurts. But when you lose, you die alone. Some of my fellow speedway riders, they used to go and ride for the popularity. They used to like to go and wave to the crowd and just be there. They really didn't want to win. They just wanted to enjoy the show. And then on the other hand, you have racers that all they want to do is win. sometimes those racers get too crazy as far as they get too wound up if they don't win. I used to be like that. When I didn't win, I used to go home. I just packed my bags and went home. And the next week, the fans would say, hey, I was there to like get autographs from you and you were gone. And some racers just get too crazy. When they lose, they're so mad, they just go home and they like deal with it. Speedway riders are tough as nails. They endure terrible crashes. They have the most horrible crashes probably in the world. Because it's the go for it attitude. They go for it and sometimes things don't work out. It takes nerves of steel to be a speedway rider. When the tapes go up, the clutch drops, you have to have split-second response. He has to do everything with perfection. Well, that's it. Speedway racers, one of a kind. There's thousands of motocross riders to one speedway racer. So speedway racers are a rare breed indeed. So thank you so much for watching the Brian B blog about the speedway. Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. See, I was a bad sport, Chris, and you're a good sport, so you're a better man than I was.
Yeah, no, exactly what you said though. It does happen. I mean, you get the fans that come down to get autographs and whatnot afterwards, and so it's you got to hang around for the fans. I mean, the fans are what allow us to do it. I mean, without the fans, we wouldn't be able to race because the promoters wouldn't make any money to put the races on. So you gotta hang around for the fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I was naughty. I like to hang around when I won, but when I lost, I was kind of a bad sport. I was kind of not happy.
Yeah.
But actually, I was reading on the internet yesterday about you when you're racing, and you had the highest approval rating as you were actually after the races a long time, which I actually commend you, and you're really a great guy for this. And you used to stick around, I guess, with your uniform on when everybody was packing up and leaving. There was Chris Kerr and maybe one other guy in the pits signing autographs, chatting with the people, and everyone loved you because you were the very friendly guy, and you were like you said, you know, these are the people that pay to come see you race and to pay your money that you make as a racer. So you stuck around, and people were highly complimenting you for, you know, all this, you know, good PR that you did. Do you remember those days? Because you were definitely there.
Yeah, I definitely do. And yeah, you have to. I always hung around as long as there's somebody that wanted to talk or wanted an autograph. I would hang around and until there wasn't any fans left hanging out. So they're the ones that, like I said, allow us to do it. So it's you got to sign the autographs, and I mean, I think there's one guy I can say for sure is even better at that than I am, and that's Greg Hancock. I mean, he's multi-time world champion, and he's the last one to leave the pits usually, and the last one out of his riding gear, and he was world champion. So I mean, he leads by example for sure, and it's definitely someone that we all looked up to and still do.
So if there's younger riders watching this show, which hopefully there will be, that we want to give you some word of advice. Don't be like me. Be like Chris Kerr and Greg Hancock, because I'm a bad example. I was terrible. And I admit it. At least I admit it. I'm honest, you know. I mean, I'm honest. I was terrible. But, you know, you got to do what Chris and Greg Hancock, you know, they do. They're friendly. Unlike me, I'm not friendly. And they're really good ambassadors to the sport. I'm a terrible ambassador to the sport. And, you know, you got to be a good guy. And so if you're a young rider, that's something that most of you already are doing. So it's not like something I need to lecture you about, but it's something you should keep in mind, you know, as your future progresses, that you need to be like respectful and be good, and also stick around and sign autographs and be, you know, a good ambassador to the sport. And that's exactly what Chris Kerr is, you know, the ambassador to Speedway, and Greg Hancock. So that's a tip, you know, do that and don't follow my example.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons I always did that too is like, you never know who you're talking to, as far as sponsorship goes too. It's like, I mean, I got a lot of help from people just because I hung around and I gave them the time and I talked to them. So you never know who you're talking to, and they could be a potential sponsor at some point as well. So, and you never know who's watching also. And so you gotta respond correctly. I mean, to races and losing. I mean, you don't want to be a sore loser, because if people see you throwing a fit in the pits, they might not want to be involved with you. So I mean, if you represent yourself well, and you give people time and talk to them, you're more likely to get help. And in this sport, it's you need as much help as you can get. The more help you have, the easier it is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I was doing that, I was actually older rider, and I sponsored myself. I made lots of money, so I didn't care about the sponsors. So I sponsored myself. I had lots of money. So, but if you don't have lots of money, you better be nice, right, Chris?
Yep, that's for sure.
Well, that's a word of advice to everyone. And so, getting back to Speedway, you went ahead and you raced, I guess, let's see, you raced for did you race for Wolverhampton for a year? Is that correct? I think we lost Chris. We lost Chris. Chris, come back. I think we lost Chris Kerr. We're going to wait for Chris to come back. I think he raced for Wolverhampton for like a year, and then we lost Chris. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue on. Maybe Chris will join us back in the stream. Oh, we lost the end of broadcast. Oh my God, we lost the broadcast. Oh, wow. Did we lost the internet? No? Oh my gosh, end broadcast. Well, we lost Chris. We're waiting for Chris to come back. And we just went ahead and we lost Chris. Chris just left us. Chris, don't leave us. But he was racing in Wolverhampton in 2010. And actually, he came back from the British League. If we lose Chris, we're going to go ahead and we'll finish the show without Chris. I think he just lost Chris. And but anyways, he raced for Wolverhampton in 2010. And then actually Chris Kerr, he got involved in some kind of like point situation. And he was averaging really well. He was averaging like 7 points in the British League. And then Chris went ahead and they actually calculated the points really weird. And then Chris got involved in like some kind of situation where they actually calculated the points sort of weird, and Chris ended up getting the short end of the stick. And so that was kind of bad. You know, Chris ended up having a bad situation there, and he ended up coming home after that year. He had that bad year with the Wasp, he said, and then he came back. And then Chris, he won the 2012 United States Open Championship. Let's see if we can find that. He was a US Open champion in 2012 over at the Owego. Oh, that's not it. Here he is. Here's a picture with Chris and with Jason Bonsignor. And he did really well. He went over to Owego, New York. We have a few riders from New York watching the show. And hi from New York. Hi, New York. And Chris was actually one of the good riders. He won that 2012 United States Open Championship. And he was a good rider. I mean, that was his championship there in 2012. And he was just good. And then Chris went ahead and he actually started racing cars. And I think this is one of his pictures here with one of his championships. And then I wanted to talk to Chris about the cars. I think he was racing cars for a little while. And here he is racing a car. I guess he was racing some midget cars or something like that. I'd love to talk with him about that. And he was just a good, Chris Kerr, he's a good rider. And if he's riding a car or motorcycle, that guy can ride. I mean, this guy's good. And so he was good. And he raced in like the USA versus the world in Speedway. And he did really well. Chris Kerr can ride a bike. And this guy is full throttle. I mean, that's why he's nervous about crashing, because he doesn't ride anyway but wide open. And Chris is a comedy guy. I guess this was one of his times. There he is. He's coming back to the truck. Oh, here he comes. Hey, Chris.
Sorry about that. Yeah, my phone died, and I got it plugged in now, so we'll see if it'll last.
I was showing some pictures of you. I was like, what happened to Chris? He's gone. Oh, we miss you, Chris. We love you, Chris.
I saw that last picture.
This one here?
Look like me.
Was that you? Was that you, or is it somebody else?
No. No, it definitely wasn't me.
Okay, well, that's
I've
good.
had plenty of moments like that, though.
Well, I think there's one moment here, and good. Welcome back, Chris Firecracker Kerr. Oh, hey, is this one of your better moments? Let's see if I can find it here. Can you tell us about this? We're going to watch this a little bit, not all of it. And if you don't have a career as a speedway rider, we know what your next career is going to be. Here's Chris Kerr live as an entertainer for you, and we're only going to show you part of it.
Go on, Kerr! Hi, Gareth! Go on, Gareth!
What happened there?
I don't know. That's definitely not me. I'm not a fan of karaoke, but I would do Michael Jackson more justice than that, I think.
Was that you, Chris, singing? Was that your good voice? Yeah.
No, definitely not.
No, that's not you?
No, not a fan of karaoke. Not a fan of karaoke. I don't get up in front of people and sing.
I thought that was.
It looked like it could have been, but No, definitely wasn't me.
Okay, maybe you're saying that because you don't want anyone to know that was you.
No, I admit it. I don't have a good singing voice, so I mean, it would be very similar to that, but that wasn't me.
Okay, good. I thought that was you, and I thought, oh, good. Chris Kerr has a future as an entertainer and singing. Oh, that was funny. So let's get back to Speedway. Forget the singing. Also, hey, there's one more thing. What is this picture? I want to ask you. What's happening here?
Oh, I took my brother skydiving for his 18th birthday. So that was us getting all suited up and ready with our harness and whatnot for skydiving. So I paid for him to go skydiving on his 18th.
You skydive? Are you a skydiver too?
No, I did it the one time. I'd go again, but yeah, no, that was my first time, and it was his first time.
What was that like, skydiving?
It's a rush, that's for sure. It was cool. I would definitely do it again. It's something that I could see myself getting into and actually doing it more, but it's a costly hobby as well to get into, and it's time consuming. I don't have time for, but it was awesome. I'm glad I did it. It's one of those things I can say I've done, and I would do it again.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah. I did something like that. They have the zip lines in the Philippines, and I went to this place where they had the longest zip line in Asia, and it was long. It was like a couple miles, and you'd like free fall down the zip line going about 150 miles an hour down this thing. And I it was crazy. I mean, I'm not used to going like that speed, and I was wondering, how am I going to stop? I'm going like 150 with no parachute. And they give you these little like flap things, these little like things. And they said, when you get ready to stop, you put your hand out and that will stop you. I'm thinking, I'm going 150 miles an hour. And then I get this little baseball mitts and that's going to stop me. I don't think so. And I was scared, and it was down a forest. It's down a mountain. It was like 2 miles. I was going about 100 and something miles an hour, and I'm like going fast, and I'm like, I'm going to die, and then it stopped me at the end. I have a video of that, but I know it's fun, huh? Going fast like that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That's something I'd love to do. I'll have to get that place from you so I can put it on my bucket list.
If you come here, we'll have to go visit that place, and all the celebrities go there. And it's just, I mean, there's actually 3 zip lines. There's that one long one, and it's like a couple miles. It's really long. You go through you're on top of a mountain. It's so far, you're on top of a mountain, and then you come down this thing, and it's just crazy. It's a blur. You're going so fast, and it's really fun. And then there's 2 other zip lines after that, and they're smaller, and it's like no big deal. You just went down the big Matterhorn, and then you go these little ones, and it's nothing. But it's a lot of fun. It's only a few bucks, and it's a good time.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. I have to do that one again. I actually did a blog on that, and I'll have to go find that one. But it was a good time. So I was trying to do the show for you because I thought maybe we're not going to have Chris Kerr come back. So I thought we were cut off the show. Maybe we lost Wi-Fi because sometimes where I'm at, the Wi-Fi goes actually cuts down because we live far away from the city. But so it was. I saw you like missing, and I thought, oh no, I thought I was missing. Like my show's over, but I checked it, and the show was still going. I'm like, oh my God. Yep. So you were a car racer, or what happened here? What's going on?
So yeah, for a little bit, I was given the opportunity to race sprint cars. Blake Borello, that I help, his dad builds sprint car engines for a living, and so he gave me the opportunity to drive a car. He built that car up with his race motor in it, and gave me the chance to drive it. So I drove it. I drove it for a few years. So it was definitely a cool experience. It's driving the non-wing sprint car it's just like the speedway bike on 4 wheels for the most part. So it's a lot of fun, and it was an awesome opportunity. that I got to do. I didn't get the same rush in that I got from Speedway, but the same adrenaline rush. But it was still really cool to do it.
Nice. How did you do? Did you win any and when you're racing the cars or not?
I won that one picture. I won a trophy dash one night. But other than that, I mean, it's tough. I was racing against a lot of guys that have been doing it for a long time, and also a lot of their cars were just newer and had some better parts on it. Like, okay, got someone sneaking in here.
She's a cutie. Hi, sweetie. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. I won that one race, and other than that, I was there to try and compete and have fun with it. But it's hard. I only raced a few times a year. They're constantly there's everybody else that I'm racing against was racing all the time. But it's time consuming, and it's a costly sport to get into for sure. So it was hard to compete against those guys who were always racing. But coming from Speedway to that, it wasn't too bad of a transition because it's so similar in the way that you drive the car. So it's the same thing for Speedway. I mean, the harder you ride the bike and the faster you go, really the easier it is. They're meant to go fast. And it's the same thing with a sprint car. So the harder you drive it, the easier it is.
Nice. Oh, that sounds like fun. So this is a picture of Jason Bonsignor. Do you know Jason Bonsignor? Do you know him?
Oh yeah, definitely. But Jason's a great guy, a great promoter, and a great ambassador of Speedway. That's for sure. So you got Billy Gennaro hiding in there too.
Is there Billy in there? Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's Billy in the front row, and you're behind Billy, giving him giving him a noogie. I think you're going to give Billy a noogie in the air. Billy deserves a noogie, I think.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes he probably is a troublemaker because he's a Speedway rider, and all Speedway riders are troublemakers, right?
At times.
At times. And you did really well in 2012. Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, that was I got second that year, but that was I did win it one of the years I won it. I don't think I won that year because Billy was there. So Billy kind of dominates whenever Billy goes anywhere. But no, that's fun. I love going to New York and love doing that race. It's a good trip. It's a good weekend, and I love to go and support Jason and race against the New York guys. I mean, I got a lot of friends over there from the years of racing, and it's a good time. I think I've done it 3 years. I've gone over there. I think I won 1 year, got a second, and I think I tied Sam Malenko another year. Him and I were tied for second and third.
Well, so you've been there 3 years. You won one. You got a second place, and you got another podium. So you're on the podium every year. That's not too shabby, Chris.
No, it's not. It's not too bad. I mean, considering I don't race full time anymore. I mean, most of the time when I go over there, I haven't been on the bike in a little bit. So I try and get in some laps before I go to blow off the cobwebs. But it's more so the fitness. The fitness is what gets me in that race. So, because the final night goes, you got your full night of racing, your four heats that you do on the night, and then you have 4 main events in a row. So those four main events are the ones that get you if you're not in shape.
Oh wow!
So, but it's definitely entertaining. It's an entertaining race, and it's a lot of fun to do it. So I'm sure I'll go back again at some point and do another one.
I'm sure Jason would love to have Chris Kerr racing in New York. I'm sure that.
I try and go when I can, but yeah, it's hard to get away sometimes from the kids, but I'll try and bring the family one of the times.
Well, we have a lot of viewers from New York, and they really like Chris Kerr, and so they would probably love to have you back, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. I might. Who knows? It might even be this year. I'll go back. I know I went. Blake. I got Blake over there the one year with me, and I'll probably we'd probably try and get him over there again. Both of us go over and ride. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun riding with him and being able to go and teach him on other tracks too. Because I've been working with Blake for probably about 4 years now,
Nice.
and trying to tutor him 4 or 5 years.
Well, he's a good rider, Blake Borello, and I always say Blake Borello. I like Blake; he's good. And
Yeah.
He got fourth place, all right. He got fourth place this year in the Outlaw United States Championship. That's not bad for a young rider at all.
No, and I mean it's usually a tough lineup in the final. I mean, so yeah, I mean it's for him to go over there and finish fourth is a good showing for him. So I know he wanted more, as we always do, but it was good. And he's definitely progressing well.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Blake today, and I asked him if he wanted to be on our show next week, and I think he's going to be on next Wednesday at 6 p.m. your time. So put that on the schedule. We're going to have the future champion Blake Borello in the Hive. So we're looking forward to talking with Blake. He's a solid rider, right, Chris? He's really solid.
Yeah. He is. He's developing well. He's still got some fine tuning to do before he's one of the tops, but he's coming along really well for sure. He's a good kid, and he's a good racer.
Well, you raced with him last weekend at the Paris Speedway, and you guys were in the Best Pairs Championship together, you and Blake, and you guys made the podium again. You're always on the podium. I hate you. You're always on the podium. And you and Blake got third place. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was close to us making the final. But yeah, Blake got outridden. He got outraced by Max. Max was able to do a good job of team riding and get his partner up in there. But we were close. We made it to the semis, and then ended up getting second and third in the B final, which put us on the podium. So it was good. It was a good night of racing. That's for sure. I had a lot of fun.
Well, I saw that you had a good race against the champion of that night, which was Brock Nickel and Luke Becker. I think in your heat race, not the final, but the heat race, you had a pretty good race. I watched the video and I saw it looked like you blew those guys away. Is that correct?
I don't know about blew them away, but I won that race. Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of when I do these races, those are the guys that I always want to try and beat. Are these kids that are fast and are on their game right now. It's a challenge for me, being that I don't race that much anymore, but I still feel like I have it. So my goal is always to try and beat these top kids. So it feels good. It feels good that I was able to get one over on them.
Yeah, no, I saw that video and you were flying, dude. You were just badass. You were like cooking, and you're doing the. And I asked Ken over at the Extreme Speedway if he could provide a video, because I want to show that, because you really were ripping, and we just couldn't get that video together, sad to say. And but that was just an incredible race, and it was a heat race. It wasn't the final, so I guess it didn't hurt the guys that much, the winners. But it was just an amazing show of your talent, and. Actually, a few of I think Chris Ackerman, I guess he didn't see you very much, and he was blown away too. He was like, dang, Chris Kerr, he's fast. And I said, he's really fast. And so you blew the announcer away, I remember, on that race, and in the whole night, actually. Crazy Chris, he was on the show last night, and he really loved your riding style. Like I said at the beginning of the show, he likes the smooth riders like Brock and Luke, but then he sees you're riding, you just have that go for it attitude and that go for it, and you ride like I say, a firecracker, and we love to watch you ride. So I mean, that was just amazing. So your riding is, you don't even ride that much, and you have all that British League experience, so that probably helps you, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been riding a long time, so yeah. I mean, it's one of those things you don't really lose it. So I mean, a lot of it is fitness, and a lot of speedway is really is mental, and being able to have the confidence to know that you can beat the guy next to you. So I mean, it doesn't matter how much talent you have if you don't believe in yourself. So that's a lot of racing and a lot of speedway, and so I mean, I'm still confident, even though I don't race that often. I still know that I'm capable, and that's kind of what it takes, and what kind of carries me through and gets me up to pace with the guys is just the fact that I know I can still do it.
Yeah.
So it only takes a few laps usually to get blow the cobwebs off and get the feel for it again.
It's like riding a bicycle. You'll never forget how to ride a speedway bike, and you just know how to ride that speedway bike. I agree. It's really the physical conditioning, and like I have a long layoff myself, and when I go back and ride, I'm going to be in the gym every day working my body hard, getting in shape, just really getting in race shape. And I think if you do that, I did that actually in 2012. I hadn't ridden for like 5 years, and I worked out so hard in the gym every day. I was pumping weights. I was pushing my leg muscles, with the machines and everything, the arm, the biceps. And when I got on a speedway bike, when I was really worked out hard, for like several months or a month or two, it wasn't that bad, really. Actually, it was easy. But if I didn't work out, I would be dusted. I'd be dead.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, it's hard with speedway because it's even, no matter how much you work out, you still have you gotta race to really get in shape.
Yeah.
So,
no, you're right.
Okay.
Well, anytime you're on the racetrack, that's pretty a dangerous time for other riders. So if you're lining up, if you go a young rider and then you look up and you see number 27 next to you, you better be on your A game, because I think this guy named Kerr, he's not going to let it go very easy. So I think if you ever race Chris, you better be on your A game, and you better be a good rider, because Chris will take you down. So that's cool. You have the heart of a champion, and I talked to a lot of the riders about that, and that's so admirable. I love that quality in speedway riders, and you definitely have that quality of that heart of the champion. And even though, you're a family guy, you're racing speedway for fun, but when you get on that track, it's all business.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't go to a race unless without planning to win. So I mean, I know that I can compete with everyone out there, and so I go out there to compete. I go out there to have fun. That's mostly why I don't race as much anymore. I stopped having fun racing on the local tracks. So that's why I just kind of pick and choose now, because I still want to have fun with it. But at the end of the day, I'm there to win races, regardless of who's there and what's happening. It's because it's always more fun when you're in front.
When you win, nothing hurts. It's good to win. And I wish I could win in D1. That would be cool. When I was young, I had some pretty good runs in D1, and it felt good to beat, the top guys. And, it was a good feeling, just to win. It's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. So tell me, Chris, how did you get your number 27? I always wondered about that.
So when I started Speedway and I had to pick my number, my oldest half brother is the one who taught me how to ride a motorcycle, and I started riding a 50 when I was 3.5, and he's the one who taught me how to ride. And he passed away when he was 27 of pneumonia, and so that's how I got my number, was because that was how old he was when he passed away.
Oh, so that was your brother who taught you how to ride? He was
Yeah.
27?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, bless his heart. Oh, he died of pneumonia. So what happened? He just like got sick and then he went to hospital or something and died or what?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I was young. I was young when he passed away, so I don't remember all the details. But he was a tough guy and didn't really like going to the doctors, didn't like going to the hospital. So I'm sure there was more health issues that kind of that led to that too, that he just ignored until it was too late, really. So
oh,
but yeah, he was 27 when he passed, but he's the one that taught me
oh.
how to ride a motorcycle and kind of pushed me on the motorcycles when I was young.
Nice. That's cool. What a brother. What a cool dude. That's so
Yeah.
young though to die at 27. That's just too young, you know. That's terrible.
Yep. Yep. That's for
Oh.
sure.
Oh, so you dedicated your number to his age. That's a cool story. I never heard that one. And
Yeah.
that's really neat. And you did you race in the like USA versus the world here? Were you in the USA team?
Yeah, I've done it a few times. I've raced for the USA team, and I think I've raced for the world team as well to fill in.
Nice. Did you do good during those meets?
Um, I don't recall anything spectacular necessarily. I don't remember doing bad, but I actually don't really recall too much of how I did in those.
Yeah, it's one of those less memorable races. Do you know this guy? This guy coming up, he's not very well known. I think he's a Division 3 rider. But do you know this guy on the right hand side with the black and orange leathers?
Of course, everybody knows him.
Oh. Uh, he's not a Division 3 rider, right?
No, no, no. He's a legend, that's for sure, though. Eddie
Uh,
Casper.
yeah, we love Fast Eddie, and he's a good guy. He used to race for me, so I can tease him, so that's okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, Eddie Castro is a
he's
good
awesome.
guy, and he's an
Yeah,
awesome guy. And what happened here? Were you like having a party or something?
that was at my buddy's wedding.
Oh,
So
nice,
that's my dad in the cowboy hat and my younger brother on the left, and my cousin behind me.
nice. You guys
That's
knew how to have some fun there. So that's cool. And then, actually, I want to ask you this question. How did you meet this lady here? Do you know this lady?
Yep, yep. That's my wife. That's Audrey.
How did you meet her?
At the races, like I think a lot of riders end up meeting their better half. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I met her at the races when I was young. So I think I was 18 when I met her.
Nice.
You know, and then yeah, we started dating. I think right around the time. Actually, I turned 20 when we started dating, and we've been together ever since.
So did she come with you to Europe, to England, or did she stay home?
She stayed home but she would come visit for about a month out of the season, month and a half. She'd come over. So we'd break it up. She'd come over in the middle of the season. So 'cause I'd be gone from March till November. So I was gone for 8 months out of the year. So about halfway through, she'd come over and spend a month or so over there.
Nice. That's
So
that's
yeah, so
cool.
she got to travel a little bit and see a bit of Europe and see what racing was like over there.
She got to live the rough life for about a month or so every year, huh?
Yeah, well, her very first trip to England, my sponsor picked her up from the airport because I was prepping bikes for a race that night, and he picked her up from the airport, and then they drove like 4 hours to the house, and then another 3 hours up to the race in Redcar. And directly after the race at Redcar, we drove another like 10 hours down to the ferry at the bottom of England and took the ferry to Hungary. And we took the ferry across to France and then drove to Hungary for the Speedway World Cup, for World Cup qualifier with the American team. And so that was like the day that she landed. We did all that. She drove up to the race, drove down, then we drove to Hungary.
Oh my gosh.
So she spent a lot of time in the van her first few days there.
I think she was driving like 24 hours that first day.
Yeah, no, well, it's a 20. I think it was like a 22 or 24 hour drive from England to Hungary.
Oh
So,
wow. So,
so it was
how
a
do you
lot,
how do you
lot of time.
drive? You go to like you go to Dover and take a ferry
Yep.
over to like France or something, and then you
Yep.
drive. Is that what you do? Yeah.
Yeah. From Dover to Calais in France, and then we would drive from there to wherever the race was. So we pretty much drove to every race that we went to. So we drove.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the farthest we drove was to Latvia, and that was, I think, 30 hours straight through.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's crazy. And so you guys ended up getting married. I guess this is your wedding. Is that correct?
Yep.
So
Yeah. We got married in 2012. So I've
nice.
been married 8 years and together for like 17.
Wow. Congratulations. So
Yeah,
you had the courage to get married. Good job.
Yeah, I waited 9 years before I popped the question, but longer than she wanted, but it happened.
Yeah. So did she fall in love with your winning main events, or did she fall in love with like, with the Chris Kerr?
Well, yeah, I wasn't winning a whole lot of main events there, but there's still that motorcycle racer appeal. So
Yeah.
we have that, which is good, but yeah, I wasn't winning a lot back then, I don't think. I was still
Well,
crashing a bunch.
you're a handsome guy, so I'm sure that she didn't have a problem with that. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then you have this little munchkin. Who is this one? She was around, I think. This is younger.
Yeah, that was my daughter when that was down at Industry Hills. We were watching a race. Yeah, she's a lot bigger now. She's 6 now.
So she's a little older here, it looks like.
Yeah, she loves racing. She loves motorcycles.
Nice.
She rides a 50, and I actually need to get her a bigger bike now, but she loves it.
And then we have Santa Claus with her. Looks like Santa Claus here.
Yeah, my ugly sweater.
That's nice. What are you talking about? And then it looks like you're like, I don't know where you're at. You're at some kind of theme park or something here. Where are we at there?
Yeah, that's at Cal Expo in Sacramento. That was just a light show experience thing that they put on every year for Christmas. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
I think the
And then it
kids have fun.
looks like Christmas time here. Is that
Yeah,
Christmas?
it's the same thing. Yeah, that's part of that light show thing that they do.
Nice. Oh, very good. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So you just have one child now, your daughter, is that it? Just one?
I've got my son too. He's 4.
He's 4.
Yeah.
So is he going to be a rider? Is he going to be a speedway rider like Chris, or is he not going to be one?
Yeah, if he wants to, I'll definitely encourage it. And I mean, he loves watching the motorcycles, and I mean, he's had a crash or two on the 50, and so he's a little nervous about it, but he loves watching the races, and I mean, he has to watch all the time on TV, and he loves going. So
Nice.
I'm sure I'll get him on a bike at some point, and if he wants to keep doing it, I'll definitely support it. But I'm not going to force him to.
Yeah. Well, if he has your genes, he's going to like riding the motorcycles, I think.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can teach him a little patience and to think a little bit more than I did.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of experience now, so you're like an old like master now. As before you were just an 8-year-old kid with nothing. So, and now you have like what? How you're like you have like 20 years of riding, right? Something like that.
Yeah, 28 technically of riding speedway.
Yeah. I didn't know that you had so much experience, to be honest with you. And when I saw you back at Costa Mesa in 2005, you were, like I said before, you're really good. And I was just like, I used to hear that. I used to be working on my bike in the pits because I was always changing gears and stuff. And then I say, Chris Kerr. I'm like, dang, who is that guy? And, you're always leading and winning and stuff. And I was like, God, how did this guy get so good? But you were already riding 15 years or something.
Yeah, I had already been riding quite a while by that point.
Yeah, I mean, 2005, you were kind of getting ready to go to Europe, so you're kind of good at that time.
So I was getting there.
you were like 1 inch away from going to Europe, I think, in 2005.
Yeah,
you were close. And so no, that's great. And so you've had a really great racing career and stuff. And, you've been on the podium so many times. And I think that's no insult, like when you're on the podium anytime, I mean, you're a winner, like you're a podium finisher. And I remember when Dylan Romo, he actually was third place, I think it was, on the 21 and under championship last year at Paris at the end of the year. And he was pretty upset that he didn't do better because he has that heart like you, Chris. He has that heart of the champion. He wants to win. We all do. We all have that attitude as Speedway riders. I mean, everybody wants to win. But there's only, like you said, Chris, there's one winner. So it's hard. Yeah. It's hard. But he was kind of depressed. Dylan was depressed. And I was like, hey, dude, you made the podium, okay? You beat Cunningham. I think it was a tie runoff for third place, Kyle Cunningham. You made the podium, so there's no insult in making the podium, correct, Chris?
No, definitely not. But I understand where he's coming from. I mean, I know he wanted to win that race, and he felt that he could have done better, for sure. And we always do. If we don't win, we definitely have a little bit of disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been doing it long enough, and he's fast enough that he knows what he can do. And when you don't perform as well as you can do, you're always going to be let down a little bit.
Exactly. Oh, but that's good in one way, because when people get upset about themselves, they even publicly they go and say, I didn't do as good as I should have, and they show that sort of like dejection about their riding that night. It's kind of good, right, in one way, because it shows they're really, they're emotional. They want to win, and they have that hunger, that drive. And like you say, he has that experience. He could be winning now because he's a really good rider, like his brother Max. They're both amazing riders, but they were on the podium too, right? They were on the podium in that race. So,
no, they've got the heart to win, and they got the talent. So yeah, when you don't do what your expectations are for yourself, it's going to be a little bit of a letdown always. But it's also what drives you to improve and figure out what went wrong and what you can do better.
Exactly, for next race. Yeah, that's true. That's what I like about Speedway riders, is that they all want to win, and they all have this drive. They have this certain attitude. Speedway riders are kind of troublemakers. At times, like you say, not all the time, but we can get into mischief. We're not like perfect angels. I talked to Sagalos and Penhall, and I learned all about their mischievous days of running little old ladies over on bicycles, power sliding, and saying, "Sorry, lady, we're just preparing to be future world champions." At the beach at Balboa Pier, I mean, these guys are mischief people. I could see the little old lady laying down on the ground going, "What did you just do to me?" And Penhall and Sagalos saying, "Sorry." So, I mean, Speedway riders, and we're going to have Dennis on the show this Saturday. I hope he still comes on, because I'm making jokes about him right now.
I'm sure he will. We can pretty much we can all take it.
You guys are all you guys are mischief guys, jokers, everybody, including me. I was kind of a class clown when I was in high school. Like, I made a lot of jokes, and I was kind of like, enjoying myself a little too much. Too much. But it was fun. So yeah, Speedway riders, like I say in my blog, are a special breed of people. speedway riders are just different. You know, we have that attitude of winning. You know, we don't settle for being like in our mind. Of course, there's only one winner, but in our mind, I'm talking about mentally, not just like physically, like what happens, but in our mind, we all want to win. You know, like we mentally want to be number one, and we're not always number one, but we have that attitude, right, Chris? We want to win.
Yep. Yep. I mean, that's why we're out there. We're out there every race to win the race.
Yep. And that's cool. And so I enjoy that because it's nice to sort of like be in races with everyone that thinks the same. They all want to win, and
Yeah.
And it's cool to be with guys who are not there for fun, to just play around and wave or something, but they're out there for serious business.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, Speedways, it's a tight knit community too. I mean, there's a lot of family in Speedway and a lot of friends that are made in Speedway, and they're always around. So it's a good sport for sure.
Yeah,
I always love the sport.
It's like a big family, I keep saying. And, sometimes you get mad at your family. Sometimes you love your family. Sometimes you hate them a little bit, but you always come back. It's your family. So you ended up kind of like, dealing with it.
Yeah. We all work it out. But yeah, we all have that same racing mentality, and we all love the sport.
Yeah, that's right. I grew up with some racers that we really hated each other, like, when we were 17 years old. I mean, we really didn't like each other. We just like literally, but now, we're kind of friends, and we're kind of like, okay, maybe not best friends, but we all like tolerate each other like a family.
Yeah.
So it's cool. That's what's neat about Speedway. And, we all wish, each other the best, and, we're all pulling for each other. You're helping Blake Borello with his riding skills, and, Renton Todd is being helped by Billy Hamill, and a lot of these older riders are helping each other. So that's really good, right? When you're giving back to younger riders.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I love to help. I mean, it's one of those things too. It's like, I mean, I got help from riders and when I was coming up, and so I just giving back and trying to help up and coming kids, and then it's kind of the same thing. I mean, even if I didn't get a lot of help when I was younger, I still feel like, I mean, if now that I am in a position that I know I've been riding a long time, so I do have something to give as far as the knowledge. But I mean, if I was when you're young, you just want advice, you want help. So I'm always around to helping young kids up and coming, and if it makes them faster and makes them enjoy the sport more and stay in the sport, then that's better for Speedway.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and giving back. And like you said, you didn't have a lot of like tutorage or a lot of people going out of their way to help you when you were just a young rider and stuff. And it's, it's sad in one way, that happens a lot in racing, but it's really nice when I think it's really nice when that happens. And then you turn around and say, I'm going to be the, tutor that I never had, I'm going to give back, even like break that chain of like what happened, and then say, I'm going to be the guy, the better man. And I'm going to be giving back to people, to other riders, even though I didn't have that experience. It doesn't matter, because you're a better man than that. And then you give back. That's really just amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a love for the sport, and what we do, and I want to see everybody improve, and especially the up and coming kids, and actually even the guys that are out there in Division 2, Division 3, they're just having fun. I mean, there's a lot of times that what they're doing isn't necessarily the safest way to go about it. So if I can help them be a little safer, not just for themselves, but it'll be safer for everybody else out there too. A lot of the times. But mostly the kids trying to get the kids riding better, and when they start riding better, they start having more fun, and they're more likely to stick around and stick with it. So we need more young kids and more up and coming Americans in Speedway, in the world of Speedway, and one for the sport here, but also to go over to Europe and keep representing for us.
Oh, exactly. And there's a bunch of good riders coming up right now. The sport is not dying as far as the riders go, and there's a good riders, and we're going to see some. We might see the Romo brothers riding over in Europe this year, one or two of them, and if they have the racing going on, and then of course we got Luke and Brock over there at Wolverhampton, and we have all these really good, talented young riders coming up. I mean, they got a lot from Northern Cal, has a lot of young, up and coming riders. The Southern California has a lot of more established, older young riders, I think, with a few young riders too, like Sebastian. I think he's from South, and then Northern California has a whole stack full of really good riders that are the younger version of the young riders coming up, and they're going to be stars, so it's looking good, right, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. The junior program has definitely gotten better over the last couple of years, and I mean with Billy Hamill coming back and helping out too with the 125 class with the kids, and getting the bikes out there for all the kids to ride, and putting on some schools now and then. And Gennaro has done quite a few schools as well for the kids, so it's definitely helped develop the junior program. And like Kelly Inman promoting at Industry, he's done a lot for the junior program, and running the Silver Cup down there, which is probably the biggest race of the year really for the kids. But they've all done a lot to contribute to building it up, and it's definitely stronger now than what it was a few years back. It was starting not to look too good as far as the amount of riders coming in, but we're getting there.
No, that's true. Yeah, actually, I remember that time when the riders there wasn't that many younger riders, and people were saying like, "Oh my gosh, the sport is going to die." So I mean, because you need that young talent coming up to keep the sport alive. The fresh young blood, the young riders, and if you don't have that, you don't have like Speedway, because you can't rely on like old guys to continue the sport. And then when you were riding back in like, I don't know, like 1996 or whatever it was, like when you're 8 years old and then going to 16, I mean, you had good riders. You had in the junior program, you had like Billy, right? You had Billy Gennaro, you had Jimmy Fishback, you had Ryan Fisher, and let's see who was riding in those days, because you had good. These are stars, and they were all in the junior program. Who was racing with you back that time? They were good.
They were all a division ahead of me when I was coming up. But I came up with Brian Yarrow and Eric Carrillo. So I mean we had when I first started in Speedway as a junior, I mean we had a full junior national, the 16 rider field, and Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3 all had a full program. So that was in the heyday of juniors, and there was a lot of riders back then, and it'd be cool to see get back to that one day if we could. But yeah, it's definitely slim down a little bit. But hopefully we can get some more tracks opened up, and some more practice tracks for people to go ride, and just more availability of equipment to try and get some of these kids into the sport.
Yeah, you're right. Well, at least Steve Evans has, the Bakersfield track opening up next month. And then he has Paris always running a full schedule every month or every couple times a month. So at least we have Speedway for the younger people and for the older riders like yourself, established veterans. So that's good. Are you going to race the Bakersfield or the Paris again this year? Or are you just going to think about like when you feel like it?
Yeah, kind of want to feel like it. I mean, I think I'll probably try and do a Bakersfield race depending on how the track turns out. It's a brand new track, so for myself and wanting to have fun and not get hurt, I want to see the track, how the track develops, and when they get some DG on the track, and make it a little more Speedway ready. And I want to see how it develops. I don't want to go down there for the first one myself. So I think Blake is planning on racing, so I'll probably go down and mechanic for him. But So I don't think I'll ride that one. But I'm definitely looking to do another race or two this season. Especially how the last one went. I'm feeling pretty good. So I want to try and keep that going and have some more fun.
Well, anytime you can make the podium coming cold turkey, from riding from not having a big layoff, I mean, you should feel really proud of yourself and happy, as far as what your accomplishment was. And I guess Steve Evans just recently, like yesterday, he finished the crash wall around the Bakersfield track, and it looks really good, all painted. It looks really good. And I guess one of the biggest complaints is just maybe a little more DG on that track. So hopefully they'll have that for the racetrack the race next month, or actually the end of this month. Actually, is it this month or next month? It is month.
This month, it's on the 20th, so it's only a couple weeks away.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I mean it's definitely getting there. But yeah, I for myself, I don't want to go out and race the track the first night of racing on it. So I can't afford to get hurt. So I'll go down and watch and support at some point. And at some point this year, if he does some more races there, I might try and do one.
Well, if that track is to your suiting, which it hopefully will be,
it looks awesome.
It looks like an awesome. It's fast. It's like one of your tracks over there in England. It looks like one of those style tracks.
Yeah, it's a nice round track. It's got a little banking on it, so I mean, it looks fast. It looks like it'll be a lot of fun for sure. So, I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, I could see Chris Kerr riding that track pretty fast. When you go out there.
That's the plan. So, but we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing later in the year. So I'd like to do a big race at some later in the year. I mean, the Pairs was a fun race, but I'd like to do a full an individual program that's where you got a full field of fast riders, because that's where you have the most fun is racing against everybody, and actually the back and forth racing and the close racing. That's the most fun for me. So I mean, it's always fun to win, but like the most fun I had last Saturday was racing with Max, where him and I kind of swapped a little bit, and we're leaning on each other, and that kind of pressure is where the adrenaline really gets going, and you really have some fun. So.
Well, we had Crazy Chris on the show last night, and we had Chris today, and we should call you Crazy Chris because you like that adrenaline. That's good. No, that's fun though. It's fun. It's kind of hair raising though. I don't know. That adrenaline, when you get so close, you're rubbing shoulders and you're touching and you're really bumping each other, and you're on the verge. Well, you could be, if the rider next to you does something wrong, you're on the verge of possibly, something happening. So, yeah. You know what I'm saying? When you ride that close, things can happen, so, it's possible. So,
yeah. Definitely. I mean, Max and I definitely were rubbing a little bit. So I definitely gave him a little push in the first corner, and then he tried to come up the inside of the next corner, and I closed the door on him and leaned on him. So we were definitely rubbing.
Well, Max knows how to rub. He knows how to rub.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes it easy to do that, because I can trust him. I know that he's not just going to wipe me out, and I trust his racing. And most of the guys out there, I mean, we've all been doing it long enough that we know how to race, and none of us want to crash, but we can race each other hard and fair.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. You guys are awesome. I mean, all of you guys out there last weekend was really great. I mean, it was quite the show, and congratulations to everybody that was racing. I mean, podium or no podium, I mean, you guys were out hard charging, and everyone looked great. They were really going for it, and so that was probably a fun ride. Basically a fun night to race, and at the Pair Championships, the US. That was really neat. So that was cool. So you had a good time. You had a good time rubbing with Mad Max, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, he was the other one that anytime I do go out and race, he's one of the main ones that I want to beat because he's been on fire and he's always fast. So my goal is always to get in front of him. So and I was able to do it Saturday, so I was happy about that.
Yeah. Max, he dominated Paris Speedway in 2019. I mean, he won almost every main event last year, except for maybe one or something. But Max was the dominant force at Paris all year long. So Max Romo is not one to like, think lightly of. I mean, he's just, on fire over there. So when you can beat Max Romo or rub shoulders like that, you're doing really, really good.
Yeah, well, that's right. I know I'm capable of it, even though I haven't ridden a whole lot. So I mean, it's for me to be able to step back up to that level on a given night is always fun, and it feels good to be able to get back there again.
Yeah, well, you're a talented guy. I mean, to not be riding that much and then to go out and rub shoulders and have a good race against Max Romo, and who's the champion of Paris Speedway. I mean, this guy is just incredible. He's really good, and to just go out there and kind of like dice with Max Romo at Paris and possibly beat him a little bit and rub shoulders with him. I mean, that's insane. So that's you're good. You're good. You're good. So that's great. And so so thank you so much for joining us here in the Hive. Did you want to say anything? Is there anything that I didn't cover? I probably missed a million things.
No, I mean we covered pretty much all of it from the beginning on.
Good. Yeah. Well, we wanted to talk about it because a lot of people, including me, actually, I have to throw myself in that. I didn't know a lot about you. You're kind of a mystery guy. You're kind of a quiet guy, a good guy. You're a really great guy. You're a great father. I mean, you're really a great human being, Chris, really sincerely. And you're a good ambassador to this. You're a good guy. I mean, you love your family, you love your wife, and you're just a good you're helping Blake Borello and other people if they need help. I mean, you're like a role. We had Aaron Fox on the show just a couple days ago, and Aaron is just, he's a good guy just like you. I mean, he's just a really good human being, and we just love that. Do you agree about Aaron? He's a great guy too.
Oh yeah, he is. I'm good friends with Aaron. I helped him out a bit before he went to England, and I've mechanicked for him a few times, and I talk to Aaron often. But yeah, he's a really good guy. I went to his wedding when he got married too. But yeah, I like Aaron, and yeah, like you said, he's a genuine guy. He's just a real nice guy, and he'll go out of his way to help you too.
Yeah, he's Aaron has kind of like you and Aaron kind of are like each other in some ways, and you guys have that kind of good, mellow, down to earth personality. You're good people. You're good like family men. You're not crazy doing crazy stuff, and you guys just really have it together. Aaron didn't show off any of his like championship pictures. When he won the back-to-back United States championships, and I asked Aaron, like, why don't you show any of those? He goes, it's just for me. He has it in his garage, a picture, and is behind him on the show. And I thought, how cool! This guy's cool. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's humble. That's for sure.
He's good. Because I'm a little bit like, if I won the United States Championship, I would probably at least just post something in my book, and somebody wanted to see it. I wouldn't be like bragging about it, but I would probably post a couple pictures, like in my photo album or something. And Aaron doesn't do that. He said, I don't want people to see that. I would love people to see me as a United States champion. And Aaron says, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, he's a good guy. You and Aaron are way better than me.
Yeah, we're just different.
Yeah, we're different. We're just different personality. But I like your personality though, and Aaron's.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean we're all good people. I mean a lot of the people in the speedway scene are good people.
Yeah. No, you're great. And thank you so much for helping, the young riders like Blake and others. And, we got Billy Hamill and we have Aaron, we have all these guys that are, giving back to the sport of Speedway, helping. And this is really nice when you can see the older riders, because back in the day, like in the 70s, I talked to all the riders back in the 70s and they didn't help each other, like the riders, they hated you, and they were like, giving you bad looks and stuff, and they would not help you. And I'm not saying they're bad people, because they were good people, but it's nice to see everyone these days, being the more mature riders, the veterans, helping the young people, which they did not do back in the day, in the 70s or whatever. But so it's good to see you guys get together, and we need to do that. Everybody needs to do that, and helping each other, like giving back, especially the veterans, to the young riders who really need the help, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, I don't even racing against the guys on the night and anywhere. Like I'm down to help if people have questions on setup or anything. Like I'm totally down to share. It makes no difference to me. I mean, like I can tell you exactly what I'm running. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you, but I mean, I'll help you out. And I mean, if you can beat me on the track because you're running the same setup I am, then good for you. But it really, I don't mind sharing anything with anybody and helping anybody out at any point. So, so yeah, and I mean, I think the more we can do that, I think the better off the sport will be. And I think we got a lot of that. No, there's a lot of the senior guys that are giving back and helping. So it's good to
Nice.
see.
That's really good to see. Well, the setup isn't always, like you said, the same. I mean, like, for example, it depends on your weight and everything like that. And so, and how you ride. So
Yeah.
you could probably tell someone you're gearing, and then they probably would ride crappy. so so
Yeah, it
know,
really doesn't make much of a difference. And like I
no.
said, I mean, if somebody runs the same gearing I run, and or they run the setup that I tell them I'm running, and they beat me, I mean, they still beat me on the track fair and square. So regardless of whether I helped them or not, I mean, I want the competition. I want them to be as fast as they can be, because I feel better when I beat them when they are fast. So
Yeah.
I want to beat everybody when they're on their game.
Exactly. No, that's cool. That is really cool. Well, I know that anytime Chris Kerr goes on the track, it's like, it's going to be a challenge. So that's really cool. And you have that heart of a champion. And we just really, admire, everything about you, as far as sincerely. I've always admired you since, I met you in 2005. You're just always like just an amazing rider to me. So that's really cool.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, you're always at top of my list. And anytime Chris Kerr rides, like I want to see that race, because I know the kind of like person you are, like before, just from, like I said, 2005, and when you're at Costa Mesa every week, and I knew that, and then you got all the experience in England racing, for the red cars, or was it the Red Devils or something?
Yeah,
the Red Bears,
right.
the red
Yeah,
cars. And I forgot which. I think I had Aaron on the show the other day, and there was a picture. He raced for the Monarchs or something in Scotland, or the Monarch. And there's a mascot. It was like, I don't forgot what it was, a bear or something. And I said, "Oh, you have a Care Bear over there." And he said, "No, it's a bear." So yeah, I pissed people off all along the way. It's fun.
that's
I
all I'm
figure
saying.
yeah, we're having a good time. So yeah, that's really great though. And you've just had such a great, career, and now you're a family man, putting your family and your job first, which is really the thing to do, especially at your age, and then giving back and, stuff. And you're going to have to come visit me sometime. So anytime you want to come visit me when the pandemic is over, come out
Yeah,
and hit the beach.
heck yeah, no, definitely we'll take you up on that. It looks amazing there, and I'm pretty positive the family would enjoy it as well. So that's definitely on the list.
Yeah, very good. We'd love to have you, Chris. And yeah, you're just awesome guy. And I think every rider should really want to be like Chris Kerr, have that personality. And, a lot of the young riders actually are like you, like the personality, you have the Brock and the Luke and the Max. I mean, you have these guys that just are good people. So, these young riders, I mean, especially even these have that same sort of mentality, the humbleness, the kind of calmness as you have. So do you see that with the young riders? A lot of them are pretty good guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we got a good group coming up. There's a lot of really good kids, and I got a lot of time for the kids that have that good personality, and they want to do well, and they want to listen. So I mean, there's some kids that just don't want to listen. So
Right.
it's hard to want to help and work with kids that don't want to really listen. But most of the kids that are coming up, there's a lot of really good kids coming up for sure. So it's looks promising for the sport.
Well, if young riders could follow anything, they would follow like your advice, like the style that you do, like giving back and also being like a good people. Because, when you were racing in England, you just had that sort of personality I saw. And also, a lot of people were attracted to that. Like, you say sponsors would come to you and things like that by staying after the races, wearing your uniform, even. And that's cool. And those are the things that help build your career as a speedway rider, and just having that kind of personality and that sort of humbleness and that sort of good nature. So that helped you. I believe that helped you along your path, right? Is that correct? That behavior or that attitude?
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, I got a lot of help from people, not necessarily just financially, but just people offering advice and helping. Just because I wanted to learn, and then I gave other people time, and um, yeah, you gotta have a good outlook and a good approach, and you have to be approachable, for people to want to talk to you and want to help you.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to be likable, and like Greg Hancock has it, and you have it, and a lot of guys have it, and those are the kind of guys that actually, in a sense, succeed, quite far in the sport, is because people are attracted to that kind of personality. Like they it's like a magnet. The everybody goes to the magnet. And so that's really important, and especially nowadays, with things the way they are, you want to have every advantage that you can.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's cool. So thank you so much, Chris, for joining us in the Hive today. And any last thoughts you want to share?
No, I think we're good. I think we covered everything, and yeah, be good to get Blake on and see what he has to say. He's a good kid. He's young. He just turned 20, but yeah, he's be interesting to get him on and see what he's got to say, and
Yeah,
what he says his ambitions are, and what his plans are. I'd like to hear what his plans are, and how what he envisions for the next few years.
yeah. He's only he's a young guy, and I think it's next Wednesday. We've already set up the appointment, so I think it's next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, Blake. And he works, I think,
Yeah.
with Renton,
Yeah.
doing that tree thing, and so we have to schedule, around his work schedule. But
Yeah.
I guess Blake. I don't know Blake that well, so I'm actually looking forward to meeting him, and I think it's going to be great. And I guess Renton Todd said that Blake's kind of a joker guy, so he's always making a lot of fun and jokes. Is that true?
Yeah, he's a jokester, but he's a young kid. He's funny. He likes to have
Yeah.
fun for sure. So I mean, him and I are oddly a lot alike. And unfortunately, he rides a lot like me. Some of my bad habits that he's developed, I've tried to develop out of him as I've been working with him, but somehow he picked him up. but he's a good kid. It's just a weird coincidence. His race number is 27, and it's not 27 because of me. I don't know, I can't remember the reason for his number, but he just happened to be 27, and and we just happened to get hooked up together, and through his dad, essentially, and yeah, and then we're working together. So it's kind of crazy. But
Well, next Wednesday, if you watch the show, you'll find out why he picked number 27.
yeah, I should know, but I don't remember.
That's okay. Well, don't ask him. We're gonna go ahead and ask him ourselves. So, we're gonna find that on out. We're gonna put that on the bucket list to ask Blake. And he's really a good rider, though, and I'm glad you're tutoring him. I don't, like I say, I don't know him well, but I mean, he finished 4th place in the Outlaw National Championship at 2020, and the guy's a solid rider. I mean, he really is a good rider, and if he could work on some of the bad habits, he could really, bump it up to be an elite rider in the speedway world here in California and in America, right? He has that ability. He's a top level rider.
Yeah, he definitely has the ability. He's got a little bit of fine tuning to do, but the ability is definitely there.
Yeah. No, he's good. That guy is a good rider, and with the guys like him and everyone really, but I mean, guys like him, you could just see the continued progress. Just keep going higher and higher level. I mean, where Blake Borello is now is no indication of where he's going to be next year or the year after. Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, he's going to be a different rider, and it's something to look forward to. So
yeah.
And I guess if Blake Borello hears this broadcast, he better listen to Chris Kerr, because Chris Kerr, I would listen to every word that Chris Kerr would have to say, and I would follow everything. I would humble myself, and I would just listen to everything. And I'm sure that if you did that, I'm sure you would really progress quite good. And that's what I did too. When I was a young rider, I was taught by the number 2 rider in the nation that year, and I just soaked everything up like a sponge. I mean, I did not have any bit of pride at all. I just humbled myself, and everything he said, I listened to, and I'm like, okay. And it helped me so much. It got me such a different level of rider just by absorbing that knowledge and being humble and then applying that in my racing. So that's cool. That's really cool. And that's hopefully what everyone does. That's my best advice, is humble yourself and then just soak it in like a sponge and practice and learn, whether it's on the racetrack or practicing during the race or off the race, really apply everything that these older guys, these veterans tell you to do, because if you do, you're going to really improve.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So thanks so much, Chris, for coming on the show tonight and giving your wisdom. You're an amazing human being.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the offer of being on the show. I'm glad I made it on, and I'm glad I got to share some of my story with you and my daughter.
Hi, sweetie. She's adorable. Hi, honey. Yeah, you like my bird? She likes my bird, I think. She has blue eyes. I think she likes the blue eyes. So take care of your sweetheart. She's adorable.
Yeah, it's bedtime, so gotta get her in bed.
Okay. Well, good night, sweetheart, and thank you so much. Oh, look at that. She loves her daddy, her papa. What a good papa she has. So that's it. Chris Kerr in the Hive, everybody, with his adorable daughter. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. You're amazing, and your daughter's adorable. Thank you so much. That was Chris Kerr with his gorgeous little girl in the Hive. And she's cute. Before the show, she was like talking to the bird, and she was really a sweet little girl. She's cute. And she has a good dad, too. Chris is really a great father, and he just loves his kids to death. I mean, he just loves his kids more than anything, and that's just really commendable by anybody. You like to see good families, because that's what makes everything go good. So we thank you so much, Chris, for joining us in the Beehive tonight. It was a good show. We had fun talking Speedway. I mean, how good is this, talking about from guys that are really good. I mean, Chris Kerr is really an established veteran. I mean, this guy's good. Anytime Chris Kerr goes on the track, you better watch out. He can take a year off and he can come out and beat you. So he just has this talent that doesn't stop. And we really appreciate that. And we have another talented rider coming on, former rider, on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. California time. And that's Dennis Segalos. Siggy is in the hive. And Dennis is just, I mean, this guy was done everything. We have him for part 2. And he's really good. And we're going to have Blake Borello next week on Wednesday on the show, which is Chris Kerr's. He's being taught by Chris Kerr. And we're going to talk more about Speedway with the young Blake Borello. And he's a really talented guy. And like I say, we're going to talk about some Speedway with Siggy, about some of the times he had and some of the bad experiences he had and some of the good experiences he had. He had some really fun times. So we're going to talk some fun stuff with Siggy. You won't want to miss that show, 11 o'clock on this Saturday, California time. It's going to be really good. And we're going to talk more about his boat racing with Bruce the Fox Penhall. And he won those like 4 world championships in the boats. He won. I mean, this guy did everything. And Siggy is just a great guy, down-to-earth guy. And he's just a cool dude. I mean, we really like Siggy. And we're going to do part 2. And so we're going to have a lot of fun here in the Hive. You're not going to want to miss that show. And we just want to thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight in the Hive and just listening to a really amazing rider, a master of Speedway, which is Chris Kerr. This guy's good. And so we appreciate Chris's time and hanging out with us. He's a family guy, so we took him away from his family. So that was cool that he joined us. And he's just a good human being. And so we appreciate you for joining us tonight in the Hive, because without you, we wouldn't be here. And we really appreciate you. And like I say, if you subscribe, please ring that notification bell, because we have so many shows and we don't want you to miss them. Because if you ring the bell, you're going to be notified. So that way you won't have to sort of listen all the time or be up. You'll be notified, and that's really great. So thanks again for joining us in the Hive. We had a great time, a fun night talking Speedway with Chris Kerr, the firecracker. We like that guy. He's cool. And thank you once again for joining us, and we appreciate you. And we'll see you next time. And ride safe, be good, stay on 2 wheels. I think I'm going on a motorcycle ride right now. I miss my bike. And we're going to see you next race, Saturday, 11 o'clock. Siggy, be there.